Good evening. Uh, good evening in Europe. Good evening, or perhaps even good night in Asia, and a good Sunday, good day in the United States. Very welcome to another presentation about Healy. But before I start, I like to introduce myself for the people who may not know me yet. So let's go to the first slide. My name is Jos Struik. I am from the Netherlands. I've had a long career in IT until 2012. I had several IT companies, and in 2012 I sold my shares and started a healthcare company together with my wife Caroline. And we were quite successful. We had 500, 800 employees after 5 years, and we sold the company at the end of 2017. And from that point on, we wanted to be entrepreneurs, but we also wanted to have our freedom. We wanted to be able to travel. So we were looking for alternatives that did not include the company, offices, and employees. And one of the things that we were looking at and eventually also chose is network marketing, social marketing. For my wife Caroline, she works with essential oils, and I first started studying cellular health. I wanted to know more about what it really means and what it can do for us. So, based on the information I found, I wrote this book, How to Improve Cellular Health, that you can get on Amazon if you like. It's a nice basic guide to cellular health, nutrition, and energy. And I wrote that book in 2018. It was published in 2019. And in March 2019, I was contacted by Thierry Van who's now um, senior president, vice president of Healy. And he called me and he said, "Well, Jos, you are interested in cellular health. Well, I have the right product for you to have a look at." So I did, and he introduced Healy to me. And I was amazed. I was amazed about what it is, what it can do, and what it can do for me. So I also was quite interested in the business side of it. So I bought a Healy. I started using it, still do every day of the week, 2 or 3 programs, and I started building my business. So that's what I did. I have at the moment I have teams all across the world, mainly focusing on India at the moment because that is a very big country for me to grow in, especially as I have an Indian partner that I can work with. So I'm very happy with Healy for my health, but definitely also for my wealth. So let's have a look what we are going to talk about this evening, this Sunday. First, we'll have a look at Healy World. So, who are the people behind the company? Um, because I believe that's very important. This is not just a technical program or a product. This is a product that has been developed by somebody who wants to change the world, who wants to help people to be as healthy as possible in the most possible natural way. And of course, we go into the Healy products, see what they are and what they can do. And the last part of the presentation is about Healy and you. Or perhaps in other words, if you have a Healy, there is an option that you refer Healy to other people, and that may bring you some extra income. There's no obligation. You can simply be a customer, order your Healy, use it, and that's it. But if you like, there's also this opportunity to show it to others, to refer it to others, and then perhaps earn some extra money. So that's the last part of the presentation. But let's first have a look at Healy World. Most important person behind the company is Marcus Schmincke. He's the founder and inventor of TimeWaver, which is a professional device for therapists and doctors, and I will come back to that in a minute. And based on the same technology, he developed Healy. He studied physics, quantum physics, philosophy at university in Germany, but he didn't find the answers to life he was looking for. And therefore, after his university study, he went to India and he lived there for 12 years as a monk. And he was completely happy. He studied Indian medicine, Indian life, Indian culture, Indian history, and as I said, he was completely happy. But at the same time, he thought, well, I should not keep this for myself. I have the power, I have the knowledge, I can bring this to so many more people, I can help so many more people. So he decided not to stay in India, but to go back to Germany. Before he did that, he first went to China to study the meridians. He's been there for 3 years. When he came back to Germany, he started developing his device, which was the TimeWaver that came onto the market in 2007. A professional device for frequency therapy used by more than 2,500 doctors at the moment, doctors, practitioners, therapists worldwide, more than 40 countries. And as I said, based on that technology, eventually the Healy was developed. In the meantime, he also wrote 25 books, often about typical Indian topics like Ayurveda, mantras, mandalas, because he still has that connection with India. He's the founder of several institutes for consciousness research. He's a lecturer. He's a visiting professor at Healy World University in India. And his goal in life is to make his technology, his health technology, accessible to all humans. And therefore, he formed an international he's the co-founder of Healy. He came into contact with Marcus when Marcus already was working with the TimeWaver, and he was very much intrigued by the concept and by the technology. And when you look at his background, he started out as an electrical engineer and a communications engineer, but he really earned his money in the financial world. But he wasn't happy, not at all. So he's early this century, he sold his shares and he became an investor in sustainable technologies and in vegan and vegetarian concepts. So he has several internationally renowned vegetarian vegan restaurants in Europe with Michelin stars, and that's quite extraordinary. And as I said, he met Marcus, he got connected, he got enthusiastic about the concept and what it can do and what it can mean for people. So he decided to invest. He decided to invest in TimeWaver and in Healy. And together, Marcus and Christian, own TimeWaver and Healy. And there's a great basis for the product and what we try to achieve with Healy and TimeWaver. But there's also it's also a financially sound and safe company because of this combination. But the third person, who may not be an owner but is very important for TimeWaver and especially for Healy, is Nuno Nina from Portugal. Nuno Nina is a specialist in holistic health. He's a specialist for integrative medicine. He's expert in cell biology. He's a clinic director. He has several clinics in Portugal. Also a practitioner, senior practitioner, of course, in his own clinics. And he has treated thousands of clients worldwide in the last 15, 16 years. And the biggest part of that, he has been working with the TimeWaver, the machine that was developed by Marco Schmieke, and he became a co-developer, giving his insights, giving his experience and knowledge, and that made TimeWaver what it is now. And over the years, working with so many patients, he developed a list of 144,000 different frequencies that somehow appear in our body, our mind, our emotions. Everything vibrates at a certain frequency. We're all energy. And everything, every organ, every vein, every tissue, every emotion, everything in our body has its own unique frequency. Like every radio station has its own unique frequency. And if you want to treat somebody, and if you want to focus on the cause of a certain condition or disease, you have to know that cause to decide which frequency you have to address. Because only if you resonate at the same level, at the same frequency, then you can work with that part of the body that you need to work with. You can compare it with remote control frequencies. You know that the frequencies cannot do anything wrong in your body because it's natural, but they can also only do one thing right, and that is when you know the exact cause, you can send that frequency into the body, they can resonate, and they can help each other. So if you compare it with the remote control of the car, if you are in a parking lot with many different cars and you click on your remote control, only your car door will open. None of the other cars will respond, even if they are the same brand or make or whatever, they simply don't respond. Why? Because they have a different frequency. Only your car door works at the same frequency as your remote control. So if you click, there's a vibration going, and that vibration resonates with your car lock and it physically opens. And that's exactly what happens in our body. If we know the frequency, we can address that frequency, we can address that vibration to the place where we want it to be. And all the other parts in our body simply don't respond. So Nuno Nina actually was the person a few years ago who contacted Marcus and said, why don't we develop something that people can use at home? Because frequencies are non-invasive, they're not addictive, they have no side effects, so they're completely harmless. But of course, you cannot develop something with a list of 144,000 frequencies and let people choose. So that was the main challenge they had because the technology was already there. The first thing they did was combine all the frequencies into a little bit more than 120 programs. Programs that you and I recognize as important for our health. It can be about our organs, kidneys, heart, liver, bladder. It can be about certain conditions like a cold or allergies, things like that. Or it is about reducing pain, reducing stress, energizing. So there are all kinds of typical programs where we combine the frequencies. And you can imagine if you put 144,000 frequencies into 120 programs, every program still has hundreds up to thousands of frequencies. So you still have to have somebody or something that finds that one unique frequency that you need, like the car lock and the car door. So that's why Marcus developed that quantum sensor. The quantum sensor inside the Healy that can measure the energy levels, that can measure the frequencies in our body and can help the Healy to decide what you actually need. That also means that every time you run a program, like for example your kidneys, a program to support your kidneys, if you run it today, the frequencies that the Healy uses may be different from tomorrow or yesterday. Because you were different yesterday and you will be different tomorrow because of all kinds of things that influence our body. So the quantum sensor can help the frequencies, the Healy, to decide which frequencies you need. And in the first, let's say, 2 to 9 minutes, when you choose a program like kidneys, it will send the most important frequencies into your body. It will measure how your body responds to it, and based on that response, it will decide which frequencies it will use for the rest of your treatment. So every time you run a program, it will be unique. It's a treatment for that moment. That's how the Healy was developed. It was an idea of Nuno, and they sat together, Marcus and Nuno, and they developed it. And it was first introduced in 2017. The company tried to introduce it into the market through the therapists that were already working with a TimeWaver. But in 2018, they got the idea that this is typically a product that you have to show, that you have to share, that you have to experience. This is not a product that you put on a shelf in a shop or You give it to therapists who have their own way of working with their devices. So that's why they chose to work with social marketing. And for some, this may be a surprise because it's a certified medical device. Um, but it was a good choice to do so because we now see 1.5 years later that already 150,000 people around the world are using Healys, and all those people are connected. They meet each other, they share it with each other, they share experiences, they find each other in groups on WhatsApp, on Telegram, on Facebook, and there's a growing community of like-minded people, all connected with healing. So that's the organization, the people behind the product, not your typical technical people, but people who want to change the world, people who have experience and knowledge in health, in natural health. And that's what they want to share with the world with these products. And today we are talking about healing. So Marcus went back to Germany, and after a few years, he bought uh, Cranston Castle. This is where he lives with his family. This is also where he has his development team, his team of scientists, doctors, and engineers. And he really lives frequencies and natural health 7 days a week, constantly studying, writing books, developing new solutions. So he's completely part of Healy and TimeWaver. Of course, we have offices for legal, financial departments in Germany, support, and by now we also have um, shipping hubs and offices in other parts of the world because we now are already active in over 45 countries. Wrong side. And if you wonder, Healy is relatively new. It was introduced in January 2019, although it was already introduced in a smaller way in 2017. But as such, the product was really launched in January 2019. It's only 1.5 years, but it's all based on the TimeWaver company and the TimeWaver technology. So it's a proven concept that has seen more than 500,000 applications with the TimeWaver alone in 14, 15 years. Has been used in more than 40 countries, the TimeWaver, and now 46 countries with Healy. And more than 2,500 doctors, healing practitioners, and therapists are treating their patients using TimeWaver technology. And as I said earlier, already more than 150,000 people are using a Healy daily. So the number of applications will have grown up to 700,000 already. So it's proven technology by a company that has been around for 14, 15 years and is solid in every way. As we are a medical company with a medical product, we also have a health and wellness medical advisory board. And of course, the chairman of this advisory board is Nina Nina, and we have connections with international specialists on natural health. And they work with us and they help us to develop new products and new solutions. And Healy is a certified medical product. In Europe, it's a Class 2A certified medical device. In America, it's FDA cleared, and also in India, and I know that people from India are also in this webinar, so I always mention India. Also in India, it has its medical device certification. And that certification is mainly focusing on all kinds of pain treatment and the supportive treatment of mental illnesses, depression, anxiety, etc. Healy has many more options, many more programs you can use. They are more in the, let's say, natural and alternative circle, like chakras and meridians. They will not easily be recognized by conventional medicine. We're working on that, although every program we have is based on extensive research and studies, not only by us, but definitely also by other people worldwide. But we are allowed to say that we are this medical device, certified medical device for the areas that we have the certification for. And that may be different in every country. So in America, it's different from Europe. And if you work in America, if you refer other people to your Healy, you have to bear in mind what the actual um, certification is and which compliance rules you have to use. And that's for all parts of the world. So if you live in America or in Europe and you have potential connections in Asia, you also have to know what is allowed to say and to do in those countries. It's a product that meets the highest standards. It's normal. We know it from German products, they are of a high standard, but I especially want to mention that high level security communication technology, because if you have the most extended version of the Healy, then um, you use personal data, you do analysis, you store that information, and of course we don't want anybody to hack the data because we exchange that data between the Healy, which is connected with Bluetooth to our smartphone, and the smartphone is connected with the internet. So it has to be very safe, and Healy developed its own highly secure encryption method uh, that makes it impossible to hack that data. But that is also why, if you have that highest version of the Healy, that is why we have that master key, because that master key eventually gives us the access to our own data that we need. That is also why this master key is so important to know, to have, and to use. As I said, compliance, very important. That different notices, different things you have to know. Um, if you have a Healy, if you become a Healy customer or member and you want to refer it to others, please read this. It's all available in your back office. If you buy a Healy, all the information is available in manuals and in documents. So um, be aware of the differences that may be applicable for certain countries. So what Healy World and what Marcus wants to achieve is for all people to be able to live a holistically healthy life. And to this end, Healy focuses on three pillars: frequencies, exercise, and nutrition. And all three pillars will come back during this presentation. And the concept of Healy and the concept of TimeWaver is all based on knowledge that has been around for at least 100 years. And perhaps you know Nikola Tesla, who already said more than 100 years ago, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. That's exactly what Healy is and what Healy does.